Someone always went missing anytime there was a fog.
Fog has always been part of my town. It comes down from the mountains early in the morning, slipping between houses and telephone poles like it belongs there. It settles low, hugging the ground, softening everything, sounds, shapes, even time. You learn to live with it. You leave home a little earlier. You walk slower. You squint ahead and trust that the road is still where it's always been. People complain about it, of course. Wet shoes, missed trains, poor visibility. But no one complains about her. Because once you start talking about her, you start seeing her. And once she sees you, you don't always end up where you are going. The first time I saw her was on a Tuesday. I remember that clearly because Tuesdays are painfully ordinary. Nothing memorable ever happens on Tuesdays. No festivals, no deadlines, no emergencies. Just another quiet weekday. That morning, I decided to walk to the station instead of taking the bus. The fog was thick, rain drizzling, and thicker than usual, pressing in from all sides. Buildings looked unfinished, like sketches that hadn't been fully drawn yet. Street signs floated without poles. Sound felt distant, like it had to travel through water before reaching my ears. I was halfway down the hill when I noticed someone standing near the roadside. At first, I thought it was a sign ghost. Then, it moved. She was holding an umbrella. That, by itself, didn't seem strange. People here carry umbrellas even when the forecast says clear skies. Old habits, sudden weather changes. But as I got closer, I realized something felt off. It was raining. The air was wet, yes, the pavement was wet. Still, her umbrella was open, held carefully above her head. She wasn't shifting her weight. She wasn't adjusting her grip. She wasn't even looking around. She was just standing there, still, too still. When I was close enough to make out details, I saw that she looked completely ordinary. Late 20s, maybe early 30s. Long black hair tied neatly behind her head, a plain dark coat, sensible shoes. The kind of person you'd pass on a platform and forget 5 seconds later. As I walked past her, she turned her head. Only her head. Her body stayed facing the road. "Excuse me," she said. Her voice was soft, polite, almost careful, like she didn't want to inconvenience me. I slowed without realizing it. "Yes?" I replied. "I'm a little lost," she said. "Could you tell me how to get to Morioka Road?" The name hit me harder than it should have. Morioka Road hadn't existed for years. It used to cut through the old residential area before the landslide. After the earth gave way, the road was closed, then erased. It disappeared from maps, from signs, from conversation. People stopped mentioning it the same way they stopped mentioning the dead. "I'm sorry," I said, forcing a smile. "That road doesn't exist anymore." She nodded, slowly. "Oh," she said. "Then, could you tell me how to get to where it used to be?" Something about the way she said that made my skin tighten. I remember thinking I should leave, that this was none of my business. Instead, I pointed uphill. "If you follow this road to the convenience store and turn right, you'll see a fence. That's as far as anyone can go." She smiled. It was small, polite, almost grateful. "Thank you," she said. "You're very kind." As I walked away, I felt her eyes on my back. I didn't turn around. I told myself it was nothing. I was wrong. 2 days later, Mr. Takeda didn't show up for work. That alone was alarming. He had never been late. Not once in 15 years. When he didn't answer his phone, people assumed he was sick. When he didn't come in the next day, someone finally called the police.
They found his car near the old residential area. The engine was cold. The door was unlocked. His shoes were still inside. Mr. Takeda was never found. At first, no one made the connection. Then a university student went missing. Then a delivery driver. Then an elderly woman who went out for her usual morning walk and never came back. Each disappearance happened near foggy roads. Each person had last been seen speaking to someone. Rumors started quietly, the way they always do here. A woman asking for directions. Very polite. Always calm. Always in the fog. People laughed. Urban legends are comforting when you think they're harmless. After that, I started paying attention. Every foggy morning, I scanned the streets. Reflections in windows, shapes at intersections, umbrellas that didn't make sense. For weeks, I saw nothing. Then, one morning, near the river crossing, I saw her again. Same umbrella, same coat, same stillness. This time, I didn't stop. I walked faster, heart pounding, pretending I hadn't heard her gentle, "Excuse me?" She didn't follow. She never follows. She waits. I began asking questions carefully, quietly, the kind of questions people answer only when they think no one else is listening. Everyone who disappeared had helped her. No one who ignored her ever went missing, and no one who helped her ever reached their destination. One man was found later that day, alive. He was sitting in the middle of a road that no longer exists. When asked what happened, he kept repeating the same sentence. She kept saying we were almost there. I went to the local archive. The clerk didn't ask why I wanted old maps. He just sighed, like someone who had been waiting for this moment longer than he wanted to admit. Morioka Road once led to a small neighborhood tucked into the hills. During the landslide 20 years ago, the fog had been thick that day too. Thick enough that evacuation orders came too late. 37 people never made it out. Their bodies were never recovered. The maps showed footpaths, shortcuts, routes that no longer aligned with the present. Paths that only made sense if you were already lost. That night, the fog came early, and someone knocked on my door. I didn't open it. I knew who it was. "Excuse me," she said, softly through the door. "I'm sorry to bother you." Her voice sounded closer than it should have been. "I seem to have lost my way. Could you help me?" I stayed silent. Minutes passed. Then I heard footsteps, slow, measured, moving away down the hallway. The next morning, the fog was gone. So was my neighbor. When the police asked if I'd heard anything, I said no. That was a lie. This is what I believe now. She isn't trying to reach Morioka Road. She's already there. She's guiding people back to the place where they disappeared, to the path they never finished walking. She doesn't chase. She doesn't force. She only asks. And if you choose to help her, you become lost too. So if you ever find yourself walking through heavy fog and a polite woman with an umbrella asks you for directions, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't try to be kind. Just keep walking. Some destinations were never meant to be reached again. And she is still waiting.